Hi, this is Al Milgrom, and you're listening to the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.
Greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to episode 96 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Verbanis, and we've got the best gosh darn co-host here with me today, and that is Mr. Bob Lucius. Hey, Bob. Good morning, Vietnam.
Wow, Rick. If I closed my eyes,
Oh, please stop.
I would have thought that was Henny Youngman.
Yeah.
Woo!
Well, I know you probably heard that once or twice during your career, your military career.
You would be surprised. I was in Vietnam for several years, and I heard that every morning.
I'm not surprised. Did you set your alarm to it?
No, it was my wife, actually. She rolled over and she woke me up and said, "Good morning, Vietnam. Go to work." So,
well, I do you have any idea why that's my greeting to you today?
gosh, well, I do know that that classic Robin Williams film. Was it a biopic about Adrian Tarnower?
Yeah,
Was that the guy, the radio
We're not
jockey?
We're not covering him today. No.
Oh yeah, in Vietnam, came out around 1987-ish, right? 1986, 1987. So would that have anything to do?
Yeah,
with that?
It actually came out December 23rd of 1987. So most of its airing was in 1988 to make it the number 3 top movie of 1988, even though it debuted December 23rd, 1987. And the comics that we're covering today came out in 1988. So I thought, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Tie it all together with your personal history there and with the comics we're covering today. However, Bob, I got to tell you, I'm looking at the 1988 top grossing movies, and I was like, oh well, maybe I'll share the top 5. No, maybe I'll share the top 10. No, 15. Holy crap, top 20. Like I could go on and on in these movies.
Was that a good year?
Oh my God. All right. I'm just going to roll through them.
All
right. You do the number. I'll do the film. All right. You say number 1. I'll say the film.
All right. Should we count down?
No.
Let's count. No, you want to start with number 1?
There's so many. Yes.
All right. At number 1.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, that was a dirty bunny.
I almost greeted you with that. That
was a great movie, huh? Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's one. There's one.
Edge.
Yeah, that was,
Yes.
And wow. Okay, anyway, number 2.
Coming to America.
That's another classic, right?
It was.
Yeah, I just saw a movie. Gosh, was it a trailer? Was it a movie? I don't know. I went to see Thor this weekend with my son.
Oh yeah,
finally. And it might have been a trailer or something, but there was somebody, quoted that movie in the trailer, and I was like, wow, that's a cultural touchstone now. Coming to America.
Yeah,
classic. I didn't see the sequel.
The sequel was fine.
Was it okay?
It was fine.
Yeah,
it was fine.
Yeah,
it's free streaming.
Yeah.
Fine.
How bad can it be, right?
Yeah. Hey, Bob, we're going to be here all day.
Okay. I have number 3.
That was Good Morning Vietnam.
All right. Number 4.
Big.
Another great
Tom
one.
Hanks was great in that movie, wasn't
he? Yep. He certainly is. He's great in everything.
That's true.
So, all right. Number 6.
Or you skipped 5.
Oh, I'm coming back to 5. Number 5.
Now that's a knife.
Oh, the Crocodile Dundee. Nice.
2. Crocodile Dundee 2.
Number 2. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking about getting one of those Crocodile Dundee vests and a hat for my job.
God. Can you just keep going?
6.
3 Men and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby. Not a fan of the 3 Men and a Baby. The whole concept was.
It's Steve Guttenberg, isn't it?
It was a little bit of the Tom Selleck Steve
Okay.
Guttenberg. Yeah. And number 7.
Cocktail.
Oh, a little Tom Cruise action.
Yeah, that
right?
was a great soundtrack.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's one of the more forgettable of his movies.
Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you to Bermuda, Bahama.
We don't have time for this, right?
All right.
Number 8.
Moonstruck.
Moonstruck. Was that
Snap
a Cher?
out of it.
A little Cher movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Go.
All right.
Come on,
Number
man.
9.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
That's a beautiful one. That's a Christmas movie
It
right
was.
there. Yeah.
And it came out in July
Yeah.
of 1988, but
Very
Die
odd.
Hard. Die Hard.
Die Hard. All right. And number 10.
Beetlejuice.
Oh, Beetlejuice.
Now, did I name a bad movie at any of those top 10?
They're 3 Men and a Baby, you know,
Okay.
but not, yeah, I mean, it's a preference thing, but definitely
Okay.
those were definitely.
All right, I'm going to go
Yeah.
through. I'm going to nail these real fast.
All right.
11. Twins.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
All right, here
Yeah.
12.
Good concept.
12 is probably my favorite on the list. Okay, ready
Okay.
for this?
Yep.
Okay. Oh no, Ken's coming to kill me.
Now you're gonna have to remind me what it was because it's on the tip of my tongue.
Fish called Wanda.
Fish call.
I was a huge Monty
Jamie Lee
Python
Curtis.
fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, John Cleese and Michael Palin, and then Kevin Kline. Oh, what a great movie.
Yeah.
13. A little. Was it George Lucas? Willow.
All right. They're coming out with a sequel to that too.
Yeah, I want to see that. 14. The Naked Gun.
The Naked Gun. Surely that was one of your best movies.
It totally was. And don't call me Shirley. But it
Never gets old.
The Police Academy. Oh, not the Police Squad. Police Squad. Yeah. I loved that show when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Here you go. 15. Scrooged.
Scrooge, another great movie.
16. Rambo 3.
Rambo 3. Okay.
17. Bull Durham.
Bull Durham, classic.
18. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Oh man.
19. Kmart Sucks.
What's 19?
Rain Man.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
That was a great movie.
It is a great movie.
20 Colors. 21. Young Guns.
Young Guns. Yeah.
Oh man, with Charlie Sheen, Amelia
Great
Estevez.
soundtrack. Got great soundtrack. Has been on my gym mixtape.
Oh, nice.
For decades. Okay. Yeah.
All right. 22. Biloxi Blues.
Mm-hmm.
23. The Land Before Time.
All right.
24. Here you go. John Candy, The Great Outdoors.
Ah, John.
25. Oliver and Company, which was a Disney cartoon. And then I'll go 5 more. Ready?
Do it.
All
Rick.
right. 26. Big Business. I'm not sure if I remember that. I think it was a Disney movie. 27. Midnight Run.
Oh, yeah. Scary movie. Yeah.
28. The Deadpool. Not Deadpool. The right. Deadpool. Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
29. Red Heat. Wasn't that Arnold Schwarzenegger?
It was a Schwarzenegger film.
30, The Last Emperor.
Yeah, a sweeping film right there.
I mean, I could still go. 31, The Accused.
Yep, classic. Right? Harrison Ford, right? Was that?
That's The Witness. Was it Jodie Foster?
Jodie Foster, the old pinball machine.
Yeah.
Story, right? Yeah.
32, To Kill a Sunrise. That was a great action flick. And then we got a few more here. Okay, here you go. 36, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Love that movie.
37, Broadcast News. We have Alien Nation, Gorillas in the Mist, Married to the Mob, Punchline, another Tom Hanks movie with Sally Field, Short Circuit 2, Action Jackson, The Presidio, The Serpent and the Rainbow, Police Academy 5, Fatal Attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, Working Girl. Holy crap. I mean, this was a good time to be in the movie theater.
Yep. Wow. Those were good years.
Indeed. All right. So what are we covering today? I guess we should probably get to that, huh?
Oh yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah, there's comics involved.
Yeah.
All right. So we are in the series of The Captain. So this is an 8-part series, Bob, and this is the penultimate part. This is we did The Road to the Captains, part 1, 2, and 3, and that started way back with covering Captain America 327. We're covering 327 through 350. This amazing 24-issue story that Mark Gruenwald put together with John Walker taking over as Captain America, Steve Rogers becoming the captain. And if you missed any of these, you can go back and find them. They're pretty easy to find. But the last one we did was The Captain Part 3. And we had a great guest on, James Foley.
Oh, that was awesome, Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, he's a lot of fun. Always has so much to contribute.
Absolutely. That was a great one. So go back, and if you haven't listened to that one, that is episode 92. So this is The Captain Part 4. We're going to cover Captain America 345 through 347 today. As I mentioned, these are coming out in late 1988. This particular first issue we're going to cover, which is issue 345, that one came out, had a cover date of September of 1988. The writer, as I mentioned, was Mark Gruenwald, penciler Kieron Dwyer, inker Al Milgrom, colorist Bob Sharon, letterer John Morelli, and the editor Ralph Macchio. Wax on. And we you want to hear the solicitation for this back then?
I sure do, Rick.
All right. So it was written in the previews catalog. When the watchdogs kidnap Captain America's parents, he sets out to rescue them, even if he has to kill the watchdogs to do it. Meanwhile, the captain surrenders to the commission that stripped him of his name and costume. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So we are sticking with the old format. We're going to go through this panel by panel. But don't forget, Bob, at the end, we're going to ask each other, what was your favorite panel? What do you feel is T-shirt worthy? And what do you want to put in the time capsule? And I think you go first this time.
All right. Looking forward to that.
So on the cover here of issue 345, it's a really cool cover that is done by Ron Frenz and Al Milgrom. Ron's been doing the covers, a lot of the covers to this storyline, and it has a dual picture. So the logo, Captain America logo, is in white and goes across the top. And then underneath, you have a figure of the Captain and Captain America merging. So on the left-hand side, you have Steve Rogers, the Captain, in his black costume, and he's standing there with chains around his wrist. Behind him is the commission, including the guardsmen that are standing over him. On the right-hand side, we have John Walker as Captain America, and his hands are in chains. So it looks like it's just one costume person with their hands in chains. But Captain America has a noose around his neck, and he is in a barn, it looks like, and the watchdogs are behind him. And really big and bold at the bottom, what does it say, Bob?
Surrender.
And that is the title to this story.
That's a cool cover. I love the split cover. You get two for the price of one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's cleverly thought out. So we go here, and the big splash page is a close-up of Captain America, John Walker, looking at his handler in a secure room that has monitors. And it says, the Washington, D.C. headquarters of the Presidential Commission on Superhuman Activities. For months, there have been rumors of his covert activities, but our agents have never been able to catch him in the act. And they're showing pictures of Steve Rogers as the captain. Still, it was only a matter of time before he got cocky and went too far. Well, that's exactly what happened during our recent water crisis. Perhaps thinking he would be unspotted amid the citywide chaos, he actually broke into the White House and assaulted the president. Your mission, Captain, is to take whatever measures are necessary to apprehend this man, Steve Rogers, your renegade predecessor, the original Captain America. Battlestar and I would be happy to get on it right away, but if you could spare any further details, it would narrow our search immensely. And then we see Battlestar standing next to Captain America. Very well. You know about how that terrorist organization run by this woman named the Viper managed to poison Washington's water supply with that strange chemical that made people act like snakes, right? Well, somehow Rogers gained inside knowledge of the operation and came to Washington with a number of his hand-picked Confederates to participate in the melee. The Viper herself managed to infiltrate the White House and terrorize the president. Whether she had Rogers' help in breaking in, we do not know yet. But Rogers was spotted by the Secret Service men in the White House grappling with the president himself. Both Rogers and the Viper managed to escape the agents. But Rogers turned up a few hours later at a nearby police precinct to turn the Viper over to them. He barely gave them his statement, however, when he turned and ran off. Although that took place 3 days ago, we still have reason to believe he's in the Washington area. For whatever other character flaws Rogers has, he is known to be stubbornly loyal to his friends, and as a glance at the closed-circuit television monitor will reveal, we have 3 of his accomplices currently in custody, 2 thanks to your efforts. It is unlikely Rogers will leave the city without them. Who are his accomplices, sir? The 2 men taken into custody were Dennis Dumphy, former Unlimited class wrestler who goes by the alias Demolition Man, and Rachel Layton, a woman with a police record studded with numerous misdemeanors who is known professionally as Diamondback. The third, whom the police found lying beaten in an alley, is a former government operative named Jack Monroe, who worked as Rogers' partner under the guise of Nomad. We've interrogated them repeatedly, but so far, they've denied any working relationship with Rogers. I'm about to try again. If we learn anything pertinent, you'll be notified. In the meantime, you may proceed in any way you see fit. It's imperative Rogers does not get away. He's operating in open violation of the mandates of the Commission, and we must not allow it to continue. And then Cap and Battlestar leave, and they're in the hallway. Cap says to Battlestar, "It's weird. Reading between the lines of what the commissioner said, it sounds like Rogers was actually trying to stop the Viper and save the president. But they still want to hang him out to dry. The idea of confronting the guy rattling you out, old John? I don't think so. I have no doubt in my mind I could beat him. I could have nailed him in the first time we fought, when he was Cap and I was Super Patriot, but it didn't seem worth the bother." And when did that happen, Bob?
That was way back in the pivotal issue of number 327, Rick.
That is true, Bob, and we covered that in episode 70.
Way back in 70?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's just that now I know what it's like to have a larger-than-life legend hanging around your neck 24 hours a day. I guess now I can appreciate what it must have been like for him constantly having to live up to his image. Only thing that bugs me about going after him is we still have some big unfinished business to attend to, namely that mutant resistance group that got the drop on us. Sure, we'd like to settle their hash first. And we covered that, Bob. That was in issue 343, and we covered that in episode 92. Elsewhere in Washington at the moment, and here we have Steve and Sam in their costumes standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial. I really hate to leave you like this, Steve, but while I was gallivanting with you these past weeks, things have really gone to the dogs back on my home turf. I figure if I don't get back to Harlem immediately, everything I've tried to accomplish there as both Sam Wilson, social worker, and as a high-flying falcon will come permanently unglued. I understand, Sam. Thanks for all your help these past weeks, especially getting the word to the authorities about the toxin in the water supply. I just wish I could have done more. I feel really scummy taking off with Dennis and Jack still unaccounted for. Tell you what, if you can't find them by this weekend, give me a buzz and I'll fly down and pitch in for an afternoon, okay? It's a deal, Sam. Good luck, and thanks again. You're a good pal. Don't let that stupid commission push you around, you hear? And Falcon flies off with Redwing. I hear you, Sam. I was expecting another big lecture on how my passive resistance against the group who stripped me of my masked identity wasn't enough. Sam must be in a real hurry to get back. And it's, by the way, I think I forgot to mention, Bob, it's nighttime.
Right. It is nighttime. Yeah.
And there's a kind of a military, like a truck with those canvases on the back.
Like what we call a 5-ton truck, back in the day.
I was just about to ask you what they called them.
Mm-hmm.
5-ton truck. The National Guard is still on the alert for any evidence of further serpentine hooliganism. Hooliganism?
Hooliganism.
Hooliganism.
You can't say it slower.
Hooliganism. I want a hooliganism. All right. And speaking of snakes, I wish I could get back to upstate New York, clean out the headquarters of the Viper's accomplices, but I can't leave D.C. until I find Nomad and D-Man. And then he does a nice little jump up onto the shoulder.
Every time I see one of those multiple positional movements, I hear the $6 Million Man in my head. That's the one,
right? What kid our age didn't run around in the neighborhood and make that sound at some point?
Oh, right.
And then hearing the theme in our minds.
Yeah.
What was the theme? It was like,
I can't remember now.
I just did James Bond. That was the wrong theme. I can hear it, but I can't replicate. Okay. Yeah. And of course, I'm a sucker for these, multiple caps jumping around in one panel, but it's really cool. Really well done. It was not so long ago that I greeted the sight of the authorities with open arms, but that is when I was Captain America, something of an authority figure myself. Ever since the commission decommissioned me for refusing to become their personal errand boy, and I adopted this new non-traditional guise, becoming furtive in the presence of authority has become second nature. I was lucky to be able to slip away from the police after turning the Viper over to them. Now that the water panic has abated and things are nearly back to normal, I'm sure they'd love to question me further about what I know. But until I find my friends, I can't afford to get tied up in red tape. It is, of course, a possibility that the police or the FBI have D-Man and Nomad in custody. I know that they've impounded the serpent saucers the Viper's crew traveled here with, and that was where I last saw the two of them, and Diamondback for that matter. I wish I knew how to contact Nomad's girlfriend, Vagabond, to see if she had heard anything, but I'm not certain which hospital in upstate New York she took Sidewinder, or even if she'd still be there. What are they referencing there, Bob?
You saw too, Rick, if you had read issue 341.
Well, I did, Bob, and we covered that in episode 87, and that's when the leader of the Serpent Society was poisoned by the Viper. And then Steve jumps down. Good, they're going. So what's my next step? If Nomad and D-Man are simply laying low like I am, why didn't they contact me through my hotline like the Falcon did? Guess I'll have to take off the conspicuous uniform and do some low-profile investigating. Meanwhile, in Custer's Grove, Georgia, at the home of Caleb and Emily Walker, who are they, Bob?
They would be John Walker's Mammy and Pappy.
and there's a whole bunch of people staked out on their lawn, and there's a camera crew, there's people picnicking, there's like vans, there's cars, and it's dark. It's kind of dark out, and he's got his porch light on, and Caleb Walker is standing there addressing news reporters. Mr. Walker, why do you continue to deny that your son is the new Captain America? You must have seen it on the news. How is it the Washington press conference where Captain America announced that the original had retired, he was attacked by 2 costume terrorists, one of them who shouted that the new Cap was really John F. Walker of Custer's Grove, Georgia? Do you deny you had a son named John? Why would the terrorists claim your son was Captain America if it weren't true? Where is your son anyway? Mr. Walker, isn't that true that your son came to Custer's Grove for a visit a few months ago, about the same time Captain America was sighted in this very vicinity, breaking up a local chapter of the Watchdog Vigilante Group? You yammer away with a million questions, and you don't let me say a word. Shut up already. As I told you, jackals, last night, and the night before that, and for the past blessed month, my son is not Captain America. He would have told me if he was. I don't know my son's name got mixed up in all this, but it's all just a big mistake. Now, one last time, if you don't get your blasted cameras out of my face and your vehicles off my property, there's going to be the devil to pay. If you could just have your son come and talk to us. Caleb, I called the sheriff. He's sending somebody over again. Never does any darn good. They get chased off, but by morning they come sneaking back. Sheriff Taylor would do more if he could, Caleb. He just doesn't have the men to give us round-the-clock protection. I know. Come on. Let's go in. And, Bob, I want to go back to that big old panel where he's on the porch.
Right.
And this is the first time I'm noticing, but in the background, there is his pickup truck's half in, half out of his garage. And there's a shadow of somebody in his garage. And then you see a leg running behind the house.
That's right. I've never noticed that either. That's a good catch.
But I like how Mark set it up here just to say, there's not around the clock protection. So there's nobody here to help them.
Yeah.
So they go into the kitchen, and Caleb gets out his pipe and he starts lighting it and starts smoking. Now, I find it interesting. He doesn't have a speck of gray on him, but his wife's got completely white hair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I think it's all in the coloring. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, maybe maybe he just likes older women.
Or maybe he also likes hair dye.
That could be as well, right?
I mean, it is blue after all.
Yeah.
I just wish Johnny would call and let us know how this terrible misunderstanding came about. That's assuming he even knows. That boy's never a big one for keeping up on the news. He might have not even heard about that Yahoo accused him of being that super feller. Caleb, you don't suppose it could be true, do you? Our son, Captain America? Dang door. And he closes the back door that was open. Well, the boy always did have a patriotic streak in him, particularly after Mike died over in Vietnam. I don't know. I can't see a son of mine prancing around in tights. If it were true, I'd be awfully proud of him. Captain America's not like the other super fellers you hear about. He's something special, almost like the president. If they figured Johnny was good enough to be him, let's not get carried away, Emma. And they're walking upstairs. Johnny's a good lad, but he's always had the drifter in him. I can't see him sticking at one. Caleb! And he drops the pipe out of his mouth. Why, Bob?
Well, there happens to be 4 of the watchdogs there pointing guns at him, Rick. One of them looks a lot like a leprechaun.
Why do you say that?
It looks like he has a bowler hat on with the one standing looks like he's in a closet, looks like he's got a 4-leaf clover. on the front of his bowler hat. I don't know. To me, it
That's
looks
supposed
like
to be a watchdog.
I know, but it looks like an angry leprechaun to me. What can I say?
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Walker. If you both keep very, very quiet, no one will get hurt. And he has a really creepy smile. The next morning, over Washington, D.C., and we see, what kind of helicopter is that, Bob? That's a badass helicopter. It's got some Stinger missiles. It's got some Gatling guns.
You know what that reminds me of? Another classic. Was that a 1980 movie, Blue Thunder?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that one?
They made a TV series out of that, like
they
briefly.
Did. I think it had Ernest Borgnine in it.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
What kind of helicopter is this, Bob?
That is a made-up helicopter.
No, that's I thought. So far, the only thing our manhunt for Steve Rogers has accomplished is to get me caught up on my sleep. The police have an all points bulletin out on the guy, and there's thousands of them. What do they need us for? I guess that once the police spot him, we're supposed to step in and take over. If we're already airborne, we can get there that much faster. Guy's a pro. No one's going to spot him unless he wants to. I still say we ought to dream up something to draw him out in the open. You know, like putting on his buddy's costumes or something. That's not a bad idea, Lamar. Let's get the commissioner on the horn. And then just then on TV, it looks like CNN. Hold it, Johnny. Something's on the news. Yeah, that's interesting. Like they're actually getting away with a CNN.
It does. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it does
usually
look
they
like
put
CNN.
a fake something in, right?
Yeah.
Couple in Custer's Grove, Georgia, late last night. The militant censorship group known as the Watchdogs are believed to be behind the kidnapping. It is yet to be determined why the walkers were targeted by the Watchdogs, and then, man, we see John just like go from 0 to 100, and he's angry, and he's like, "The walkers, Mom and Pa, those buzzers nabbed my mom and Pa." And he picks up the phone. "Commissioner, this is Captain." No, we haven't. "Something important's come up, sir. I need to take some time off. You see, my parents have been..." "What? What's that?" And he crushes the phone in his hand. Ah! He won't let you take off, I take it. "Doesn't matter. I'm going anyway." "I'd love to go with you, John. You know that. We can't both go AWOL. Tell you what, you go. I'll stay in cover for you, okay?" "Whatever. I can handle those sons of dogs all by myself." And then we get back to the jail cell. And we have Jack and Dennis in one cell and Rachel in another. This really bites. This is the second time since we got together with Cap that we've been tossed in the slammer. "The difference is this time we're not being held by the police, but by the commission." "Big sticking deal, dweeb man. A slammer is a slammer." "I'm not worried. If my boss man, Sidewinder, is still alive, and I have every reason to believe he is, he'll find me and we'll get out of here. He owes me for saving his life." "How will we know to look here, Diamondback? This is a secret installation." "All of the Serpent Society members have special homing devices surgically implanted in our skulls. Look, he's here. What did I tell you?" "Sidewinder, teleporting with my chick, Vagabond." "Hello, Nomad. Good evening." "You got some apologizing to do before things are Jake with us, Priscilla." "What's Jake with us, Bob?"
I don't think I've ever used that particular phrase. I'm not sure where that comes from. Rick, have you heard that one or used it before?
No, I can't say I have.
I mean, I've said, Fred with us.
I've said, "Can I be frank with you?"
Yeah, but Jake with us. Huh. I don't know. I haven't heard that one before.
What does the expression "everything is Jake" mean? It means everything is in good order.
does it give you a background?
Aside from the film title referring to the main character, it is also a slang expression from the Roaring Twenties in the United States, meaning everything is in good order. Everything's Jake. Yeah, it's Jake. Yes. You know what I mean?
That's weird.
What's buzzing, cousin?
He'd pull something from the 1920s.
Well, come on, Bob. I mean, he grew up in the 30s and 40s. I mean, don't we say stuff slang from the 70s? Right? I mean, how many times do we say the word awesome? I mean, that was totally an 80s thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
And I just said totally.
Yeah. Well, it's not just awesome. It's totally awesome.
Exactly.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Diamondback goes up to Sidewinder. Good to see you, boss. Look, I want you to do me a favor. Nomad and D-Man help me out. I want you to teleport them out, too. But they are do-gooders. If not for these do-gooders, the Viper would have taken over the society. Let me carry you out first. We'll discuss this outside. See ya, Sidey. Is that snake-faced sneak nuts? I'm not letting him spring me out of this federal lockup. Don't worry, Dennis. It's safe. He carried me all the way here from upstate New York. That's not the point, Vagabond. The point is it's illegal to escape. What Cap would do is stay and face the consequences, just like he did in Las Vegas. You're stupider than I ever suspected, D-Man. Cap doesn't always know the right thing to do. If he did, he would have stood up for this commission nonsense to begin with. Stay behind if you want. If Snakeface returns, I'm blowing this pop stand. Doesn't he mean popsicle stand?
Yeah, it is popsicle stand. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Sidewinder comes back. Diamondback has convinced me to free you. Who will go first? Take Vagabond first, then me. Dunderhead over there wants to stay. Very well. Ready, my dear? Wait a minute. I think D-Man's right. Cap would have wanted us to do the criminal thing and escape. Siding with the big D over me, huh? That figures. You've been drooling over that muscle-bound meathead from the start. Well, I've had it up to here with you, lady. Take me out of here, Sidewinder. Leave the two dimballs here to rot. Should I try to stop this clown? Oops, too late. Farewell, Vagabond. I enjoyed your company. If you ever want to earn some real money, give me a call. Sure. Oh, Jack, I'm so sorry it had to end like this, but you're right about how I've had my eye on D-Man. Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
Right, finally. She's showing some taste.
Custer's Grove, Georgia, that evening, and we see John Walker, Captain America, coming up to the house, but it has police line do not cross. He can't make it into the house, Bob.
It's almost like too high to jump over and too low to do that. What's that?
The limbo?
Yeah, the limbo under. Right. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And they know where just to put that stretchable
perfect
yellow plastic.
Yeah.
Place is dark. What did I expect? Wish I had visited more. I love this old farmhouse, this front porch. Remember all those hot summer nights, Pa just sat on that creaky old rocker smoking his pipe. Used to climb up on his lap and pull on his beard until he gave me a puff. He chuckled as I coughed myself hoarse. Well, that sounds like a great dad.
Here, clear your throat with some whiskey.
Door was unlocked. Folks never locked it. Too trusting for their own good. And then the phone rings. He picks it up. Walker, is that you? Yes. Want to see your folks again? Yes. Here's what you do. And then we cut to Washington, D.C., and we see Steve in his uniform. He is at a payphone in a booth, and he's got the payphone hooked up to his briefcase because it's got like a little computer modem in there. It's been 6 hours since I last checked my hotline. A top priority message. Is it? Yes. The code name means that it's authentic. And it reads, Cap, meet me at Michael O's Saloon, Bethesda, after midnight tonight. Ginger Rogers, Marilyn Monroe, Nomad. So the code, Bob, was Ginger Rogers, Marilyn Monroe. Why do I want to feel like that's part of a song? Is that from Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire"? Is that like how it goes?
I can't.
Ginger Rogers, Marilyn Monroe.
But I always thought that would be a great college course.
Oh yeah,
just to use that song as the basic structure of a history course, where you cover everything that's mentioned in the song.
That would be really cool.
Because it's basically chronological.
Yes.
So you could just cover the whole damn thing in the semester.
There's people out there who don't like that song.
That's ridiculous.
I was listening one time. I was driving, and I think it was, I don't know if I was on Sirius XM or something like that. They were doing like the top 50 or the top 100 Billy Joe songs. And that song was like towards the bottom. Like the guy was just like, yep, can't stand this song. It's just blah, blah, blah. Like he went on a whole tirade about it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I think, I heard it a couple weeks ago. I came home and I told my wife this. I was like, I should put together a syllabus and teach this as an elective course at the university, because I think it'd be really cool. And then she's like, yeah, but hey, some kids, probably won't be that interested in it. And I said, well, who would be interested in a history course? And and I said, I think I know, because every time that song comes on, I try to like, how many of these things do I know that I could explain, or at least tell you the broad details? And it's like 98%. There's a few in there that probably don't know. And she's like, most people don't, they wouldn't have any idea what the hell's going on. They just think it's a bunch of gobbledygook names. And I'm like, that's a shame. That's why we got to have a course.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, hey, listeners, you need to sign Bob's petition.
Yeah. Yeah. And do a chip in while you're at it.
So later that night, we have Steve he's got an overcoat on. Right, very inconspicuous, and he's going into Michael O's Saloon in Bethesda. This is the place Nomad mentioned. Wonder why he chose a tavern. And then in the back of the tavern, all the way back booth, there's Nomad sitting there, and he yells out, "Hey, Steve Areno, back here!" And of course, everybody turns and looks at Steve. And here's a guy walking in with a trench coat and some red buccaneer boots or cavalier boots, depending on how you want to call them.
Swashbuckler boots, right?
Yes. None of my partners have been big drinkers. Can't afford to be in a line of work where mental acuity can make the difference between life and death. And there's a guy sitting in a stool at the counter. Dude's got red boots on. Must be a fruit. And he goes back to the booth, and Jack looks a little inebriated here.
He does, yes.
Glad you got my message. You're just in time to celebrate with me, Stevie. Judging by the pyramid of mugs and his slurred speech, Nomad's drunk. What's going on, Jack? Where's D-Man? Weed Man's in the slammer. So's my ex-chick, Priscilla. Can you believe it, Steve? She dumped me for that muscle-bound ditz brain. Hold on. I'm not sure I'm following you. You were in jail? And how did Vagabond get here from upstate New York? The snake guy, Sidewinder, teleported her in. He's the one who zapped Diamondback and me out of there. The big D wanted to play martyr and stay behind. Not me. What precinct are they at? Cops don't have them. The commission does. The commission? I have a feeling you're just being used to get to me. Guess I'm going to have to get them out of there. I got no use for either of those lamos, Steve. But if you want help storming those commission creeps, count me in. That's the kind of pal I am. What are you waiting for? Let's go get them. And he stands up. You misunderstood. I'm not going to storm the commission. I'm going to surrender myself to them and negotiate the release through legal channels. You nuts? I thought you were a fighter, Cap. Really gone soft on me. Only a jerk would go in there for any reason except to bust heads. I can't help anyone as far gone as you. You want to play the wimp? Go ahead. I'm out of here. Pick up my bar tab, okay? And it's funny when I was reading this and he was walking out, the first thing I said to myself was, he's not paying his bill. And then I get to the part where he's like, pick up my bar tab. I wonder if like Mark threw that in because Kieron drove, drew him leaving. So somewhere outside Custer's Grove, Georgia, we have John Walker Cap walking into Simon's Roadhouse. I think it's named after Joe Simon.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the window, there's a picture of a beer and it says King Kirby on tap.
Sounds good.
So we got Simon and Kirby here on this.
Nice.
Right? Strongman beer. No one under 21 allowed. There's a bunch of big old pickup trucks all sitting around there.
Yeah.
This is where they told me to go. I know they're lying and wait for me, but I don't dare try anything fancy. Not with my parents' lives at stake. And he walks in, and it's completely dark. Those basset hounds harm a hair on my folks' heads. I swear I'm going to kill them all. I'm here. And then the lights come on, and there's like a dozen watchdogs all pointing their guns at him. We see that, Walker. Set the shield down, nice and slow. One false move, and your mom powered dog meat. I will not lay down my shield until you show me your hostages are still alive. Hostages? Still don't want to admit they're your folks, huh? You're in no position to make any demands, Captain Replacement America. He's right, blast him. Okay, here. You can have it. And he tosses the shield. Got to pray they don't decide to just waste me right here on the spot. Okay, Hero Man. Now you're going to blindfold and handcuff you, stick you in a car, and take you to see your kin. Any problem with that? No. There's a big old Confederate flag up on the wall and some picture of an eagle and some other things. As if I'm not vulnerable enough without my shield. I'm really be at their mercy blindfolded. On the other hand, my parents are not here. If I want the watchdogs to take me where they are, I'm going to have to play along. And then next panel, he's in the back of a car with his blindfold on. Look, I don't care what you do with me. You just let those old folks go. They haven't done anything. They've done plenty. They've enabled us to get our paws on the guy who put 32 of our dog brothers in jail. And then we cut to the next page, and it's dawn the next day, Washington, D.C., and Steve, as the captain, walks up to the guard. I'm here to see the Commission on Superhuman Activities. Oh, right. You have an appointment? I don't need one. And then there he is back in that hall with that huge, U-shaped, horseshoe-shaped desk with all the people high up looking down on Steve. And he's surrounded by 4 guardsmen. And these are, in those green guardsmen outfits. So, Steve Rogers, here you are again. The last time you were here, you left this chamber with your head held high, mouthing a few sanctimonious words. This time, you stand before us accused of conspiracy to commit sedition, breaking and entering the White House, assault and battery against the president, aiding and abetting known felons, and failure to pay back taxes. Face it, Rogers, we've got you right where we want you. Why does the commission have it in for me so badly? Was it a mistake to turn myself in like this? Were Nomad and Falcon right all along? Should I have aggressively opposed these people from the start? With all those trumped-up charges leveled against me, have I walked into a fight I cannot win? Meanwhile, outside Custer's Grove, so we're at that barn that I told you about on the cover, and it's late at night, and they've got John with his mask off, but his uniform still on, and he's handcuffed behind his back, and there's dozens of watchdogs, and they're bringing him inside the barn. Dog brothers, we have the traitor. The barn's almost all set, pack leader. take the blindfold off and unmask him. I could snap these cuffs in a moment, but I'll have to wait to make my move till I can save my folks. The walkers. Let me see the walkers. All in good time, ugly. And he puts his shotgun right up in his face. Up the ladder. And don't try anything funny, or the geezers get it. They're planning to hang me, just like they tried with Lamar the first time we clashed. And that was back in issue 335, Bob.
A long time ago, Rick.
It is. We covered that in episode 79. Lamar's augmented neck muscles enabled him to withstand strangulation. Hope mine will do the same. Into the noose, Blondie. Not until I see the walkers unharmed. Sure, Johnny boy, we'll let you see them. After all, we wouldn't want them to miss their sons hanging. Bring out the hostages. And if his cover wasn't blown before, it is now.
Yeah.
So she says, Johnny, oh Lordy, it's true. That's him in the outfit. What have you gotten yourself into, boy? Ma, Pa, they don't seem to be hurt. Okay then, how am I going to rescue them? Don't get no fancy ideas, Captain, unless you want lead in your head. Oh, Johnny. You can use my barrel as your hanky, you old bag. Get my boy down from there. Cool it, Pops. I've got to make my move. Time's running out. What can I do? Dog brothers, standing before us is the man who would see our moral crusade crushed, an ally of indecency, the disgrace of the nation. It is our secret. What? And just then, Johnny leaps forward off the stand to swing from his neck. And the watchdogs below start firing their weapons at him. Just thought of what to do. He's trying to escape. Shoot. He gets shot in the shoulder. But he breaks open his chains and he swings. Hope I got enough of a swing to get me enough slack to, and then he uses the slack to pull down from the rope that's hanging around his neck to basically break the wood beam over his neck. So it's still tied to the rope. And then he's using that to swing around and hit people with it. And he's kicking and crushing people. Okay, dog food. My turn now. I like that. Calling them dog food. Got to move fast. Draw all the fire. Hope they forget Ma and Pa. And he looks like he's shot in the leg, too. Don't have my shield. You'll do. And he picks up one of the watchdogs and uses him as a shield as he's getting fired on. So many of them. Can't take them out fast enough. And then he hears his Ma and Pa scream. Those voices. And when he turns his head, he looks so, really worried.
Mm-hmm.
And they are getting shot down all over. It's pretty gruesome. I remember 18-year-old Rick reading this going, whoa.
Who kills somebody's parents in the comics? I mean, for crying out loud.
I know. And it's not even off panel. Like, we're actually seeing them get shot and blood and head and everything.
Yeah.
They're just civilians. And just then, John takes it to a whole nother level. And he just goes berserk. And he starts killing everybody. And he's using their weapons to smash in their face. And he takes a guy and he throws him through a beam. Takes a pitchfork, throws it through a guy. And that was pretty gruesome too.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going wild, like a mad beast. I better get out of here. And he swings his noose around someone else's neck and snaps their neck, throws him up at the beam. And the beam, that was a support beam, which made everything cave in. And we look and there's all these dead watchdogs everywhere. And his parents are in pools of blood. And then he sits on the ground and he takes both parents and pulls them close to him. Ma, Pa, I did it. I beat them all. Every last mother's son. I saved you. Didn't you see? Oh, shucks. You don't have to thank me. That's what sons are for. Yeah. I know I should have told you about my new job. Tell you what, Ma, I'll take you home and you can fix a picture of lemonade and we'll all just sit a while and talk. The end.
That's crazy, Rick.
That's a little creepy, right?
Yeah, that is. That's yeah. That's not something you see a lot in comics, right?
I know.
Especially back then.
Exactly. I mean, this was getting close to the 90s, which was kind of like that dark, gruesome age, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But if you really think about it, this was, not something you saw in Marvel. And it did have the Comics Code Authority on it, Bob.
That's true. It did. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next issue 346. This one is also the covers by Ron Frenz and Al Milgrom. Same creative team as before. And on the cover here, you have John Walker's Captain America holding up two members of the Resistance. Remember them from a few issues ago?
I sure do.
And then behind them is the Freedom Force. And the blurb says, from the pages of X-Men comes Freedom Force. Bob, do you remember the Freedom Force?
I really don't, Rick. Just a vague, fleeting recollection.
Yeah, so back then, in the X-Men books, Freedom Force was a government-sponsored version of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. So you had, Blob and Pyro and Avalanche, as we've seen them before, but now you also have Mystique and a few other, like 4 other members, I want to say. So here we are now, because talking about the commission, John and Lamar are working for it, but now so does the Freedom Force. And I forgot to mention in the last issue, up in the corner box, is that version of John Walker's Cap and Lamar's Battlestar standing there back to back, and which was done by Kevin Maguire. Mm-hmm. Not too many people know that. And the title to this one, just like the last issue, is again big and bold at the bottom, and it is
Ambush.
So we cut this opening splash, and we see John Walker in his Captain America uniform, but he's got his mask off, and he's sitting in a jail cell on a bench. He's got bandages all over him because, remember, he's been shot many times. And on the other side of the jail is we see Lamar and a couple of, like, the sheriff and a deputy, and then we see one of John's handlers.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Rick, that is one of those big belly sheriffs we hear so much in songs. Like, what's that song about the big belly sheriff?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
Nope, never heard of it.
A woman sang it, had about Georgia.
I don't listen to country.
It wasn't a country song, but it was in the 70s. It'll come to me.
It's like in the movie The Blues Brothers when they go into that bar and we got 2 kinds of music here, country and Western.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it.
So there's Lamar's thinking to himself, man, he's just staring off into space like he's a zombie or something. And the sheriff says, hey, Captain America, you got some visitors. Captain? What have you done with him? He looks drugged. Ain't done a thing, Mr. Samish, except to patch up his wounds a bit. Cappy, it's me, Battlestar. Johnny, are you all right? What happened? We heard that your parents... Yes, my parents. And he's just saying it so devoid of any emotion. Like he's completely snapped. The watchdogs took them hostage so they could get me to surrender. They wanted to make me pay for busting up their radical moral crusade. I surrendered myself to them like they wanted, waited for my chance to rescue my folks. But as soon as I did, the dogs opened up fire, gunned down Ma and Pa in cold blood. I tore into them, really let loose. I made them pay for what they did, but of course it didn't bring my Ma and Pa back. Tore into them is right. Left 9 dead, 3 in critical condition, and 13 wounded. Good Lord, how is he ever going to live this down? Man, I should have been there with you, John. I mean, none of this might have happened. There's nothing you could have done, Lamar. Don't sweat it. I tried covering for you to the commission, but this was just too big. I know you did your best. Come on, Captain. We'll see about getting you out of here. And the sheriff talks to him as he's filling out paperwork. I ain't want to tell you feds how to run your business, Mr. Samish, but don't you think this new guy you hired will be to be Cap is a little too wild for the job? Sheriff Oakley, the captain will be fully censured for his actions, as well as stand criminal charges if there are any filed. In the meantime, I could do without your opinion. Sure.
Hey, Rick, I just want to point out it was the night the lights went out in Georgia.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that song.
Yeah, classic by Vicki Lawrence.
Vicki Lawrence, yes, from Carol Burnett.
Right. Night the lights went out in Georgia. Big belly sheriff and the judge who had to get home, get tucked into his dinner.
How could I have missed that? What year did that come out?
I don't know.
What? You're on the Google right now looking this up.
Gosh.
Right?
Yeah, it's true. What I don't know. 1972, I guess. 1972.
How about that?
Yeah. I didn't know it was that old.
Meanwhile, to the north in Fort George G. Meade.
Meade.
Yeah, that too. So they're in a military base. I was not aware that there were holding facilities here at the Special Powers Compound, Douglas. What with the nature of some of the personnel we house here, it seemed prudent to prepare for every contingency. Lieutenant, the door. Yes, sir. And then who's in the jail cell but D-Man? You guys again? Interrogation time, Mr. Dunphy. I don't know anything I haven't already told you clowns yesterday or the day before that or the day before that. Look, holding me here without charging me, without anything violates my constitutional rights. I demand to see a lawyer. I demand... Sit down, Mr. Dunphy. Okay. You don't know what you're charged with? I can correct that oversight. You're charged with aiding and abetting a traitor to the United States in several acts of sedition. Traitor? What are you talking about? You know full well I'm talking about Steve Rogers, Mr. Dunphy. Oh, great. My fellow prisoner, Vagabond, must have revealed our connection with the original Captain. Meanwhile, in the Colorado Rockies, 30 miles from the federal penitentiary for superhuman offenders known as the Vault. And we have the Resistance up on their flying boulder. And they're firing down on this particular armored truck that is going on around a mountain bend. My wall of flame slowed them down, meter right? Good. Quill. Mistress, be ready to move out. I'm taking us in. That's one way to stop a runaway truck. And they caught it on fire and it ran into the mountain. Here comes the guardsmen. Go to it, woman. And the guardsmen come out and they're firing, but she jumps onto the truck. and they're getting hit with needles. And one of them's thinking, I knew these suits weren't as good as the ones Iron Man wrecked. So Mistress is using some sort of acid on top of the armored thing to open up make a hole. Shouldn't take more than half a minute for my acid gas to burn through the top of this truck. I did it. Hi, never mind. Please drop that gun or I'll have to melt that metal suit of yours. Sorry, I warned you. And there's a prisoner there in a red jumpsuit, and he's got this metal helmet over top of him, and then his hands are tied behind his back. Hey, what? Hey, what's going on? I demand a... Oh, relax, Mr. Flum. We've come to liberate you. You mean I'm not going to the vault? Not if we can help it. You, Crucible, better chill out those flames of yours. There's a lot of gas leaking from that truck. Oh, never mind. And it blows up. Hey, who are you? Why are you doing this? We are the Resistance, Mr. Flum, a militant group violently opposed to the Mutant Registration Act. We wish to recruit a mutant of your talents. Later in the Washington, D.C. office of the head of the commission, and we have John standing there at attention, but again, devoid of any emotion. What got into you, Walker? You were ordered not to interfere with watchdog business, but you did it anyway. You went in, lost your head, and now over a dozen people are dead or critically injured. We got rid of the original Captain America because of his inability to obey orders. Now you pull something like this. Do you think we're going to be able to cover this up? Do you expect us to let you go on being Captain America after the damage you've done to the franchise? Well, I don't know, sir. Go on. Get out of here. Turn in your shield and uniform to ordnance. You're suspended until further notice. Dismissed. Now what? Do we try to sweep this mess under the rug? Do we get ourselves another man to play Captain America? I'd better report this to my superior. See what he'd have me do. And he pushes a button, and a secret monitor comes up on the wall, Bob.
I always wanted one of those.
And there's a guy in shadow, a red shadow, and looks Caucasian, muscular, perhaps blonde. And he's smoking a cigarette, but out of a long cigarette holder. And he's wearing a three-piece suit, sitting in a very royal-looking chair. That's Rockwell, sir. Sorry to bother you, but something's come up. The new man we got to be Captain America has really screwed up. Yes, I know. You do? Oh, well then I was wondering how you suggest we handle this situation. I was beginning to think we should just junk the whole concept of Captain America. No, Rockwell. The concept of Captain America is important to the American people, the world, to me. You may discipline John Walker however you like, but I want you to keep him as Captain America at all costs. Furthermore, send him back into action as soon as possible. But, sir, the man is a loose cannon. At any time, he may go off and... Sorry, sir. Whatever you say. What about the Watchdogs incident? The deaths? Cover it up as best as you can. Yes, sir. One last thing, Rockwell. I want you to arrange for the Taskmaster to escape from your detention center. Without him, good labor is hard to come by. That is all. Keep me posted. Yes, sir. Oh, he was no help. Later at Fort Meade, we see John undressing from his uniform, and Lamar's there talking to him. He told you to pack it in? I can't believe it. One little mistake and they hang you out to dry. That really stinks. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. They sack you, I'm out of here too. No, Lamar. Don't do it. Don't throw away your career on account of me. Look, John, last I checked, it's still a free country. I won't threaten to quit or anything, but I am going to give that head jerk on the phone and give him a fat piece of my mind. Check you later. I'll go to Val Cooper's office. She's got a direct line to the head commissioner's desk. Man, I can't believe this bureaucratic bull. And then over the intercom, Battlestar, please report to the briefing room at once. I repeat, Battlestar, please. Shoot, I heard you already, for crying out loud. And he gets in there, and who's there, Bob?
Is that the Freedom Force that you mentioned?
It is. So we have here Mystique.
Mystique's there.
She kind of like is the leader.
Mhm.
And then
Okay. Destiny
Destiny is her friend, who kind of is like the one who can so Mystique shapeshifts.
Right.
Destiny can see the future. We already know Blob. He's the big, heavy guy that he's hard to move. We know Pyro, who can control fire, Avalanche, who can control rocks. But then there's 4 others here that we have not seen before. Now there's Spiral, and she is she's got 6 arms, and she is from the story of Longshot. And out of the pages of X-Men. And then we have 3 other guys who are actually from, I want to say, World War II era, but somehow they're still alive. So we have the Crimson Commando. He, I think he's just kind of like a good fighter. We have Super Saber. And he...
Hold on, don't I get those in the mail once a week?
That's a Super Saber, Bob.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
Yes. Super Saber, I think he runs fast. And then Stonewall, he's a really big guy, strong. I think he has powers like the Blob, like he can't be moved, but I'm not sure. And then Battlestar comes in. But Battlestar, there you are. Please be seated. Hey, everybody, look who's here. Battlestar. Ha! You're right, Blobby, old mate. Oh, great. Those Freedom Force thieves are here, too. Don't tell me they're going to make me team up with them. And then Valerie starts talking about the Resistance. Your attention, people. Here on the screen is a member of the Resistance. They are an organization of superhuman beings, presumably mutants, who are trying to subvert the Mutant Registration Act. They've been quite active this past month, responsible for the liberation of 6 unregistered mutants across the country. We don't yet know how many Resistance there are. Reports indicate as many as 7 of them. We want those radicals stopped quickly, before they do any more damage. The plan is to stage a trial for a known mutant in order to lure them out in the open. Then we get to pope them, right? No, Blob. Then we allow them to liberate the defendant. Huh? With any luck, the Resistance will take her to the headquarters. Then she'll signal us and we'll launch a full-scale attack on their assembled ranks. Not very original. That's just what they had John and me do with the Watchdogs on the Off-Force mission. Battlestar, you're the only one here who's encountered Resistance. Yeah, and he got your butt thrashed. Do you have anything to add? Just a question. What about Captain America? Oh, he will not be working with you for the foreseeable future. I have a question, Mr. Samish. What mutant are we going to get to stand trial? Quicksilver. Quicksilver? Mystique, if you would. And then just then, Mystique transforms into Quicksilver. Oh, I get it. And then one of Walker's handlers comes in. He's laying there on the cot. Walker? And he sits up. Yes, sir. The commission has discussed your situation at some length and has reached a decision. Walker's so impassive, hard to read. We have decided that we have too much invested in you at this point to discard you after such a short period of service. The bottom line is, there may still be some repercussions from this watchdog affair that we can't shield you from. But in the meantime, we're going to give you one more chance to redeem yourself. But you disobey the slightest order, step out of line in any way whatsoever, you are gone. Do you understand me? Yes. Okay, get dressed. We're going to have you back up Freedom Force for a while. Whatever you say, sir. Meanwhile, somewhere beneath the arid sands of Death Valley, California, Marvin Flum, welcome to the stronghold of the Resistance. Interesting setup you have here, Meteorite. Tense, pitched amidst high-tech squalor. What is or what was this place? We're not certain who built it, Mr. Flum, but it was last employed by our fellow mutant Mesmero. This fortress was all but destroyed in a battle with the original X-Men, but we hope to restore it to its former grandeur. Way back when, Bob?
Yeah, it seems that was back in X-Men number 52.
Why do you people insist on calling me by my real name? I'm much more comfortable with my nom de guerre, Mentalo. Many of us are known mutants like yourself, Mr. Flum. We've been obliged to discard our old aliases and assume new ones in order to regain our anonymity. Occult is right. Some of us, like him, Paralyzer, Crucible, and myself, have even worked as the government's special mutant force. That is until the committee that organized us lost its funding and the so-called Freedom Force took our place. But you know all this from reading my mind, Mr. Flum. You're a telepath. What's he referring to, Bob?
I believe, if I'm reading this properly, Rick, that is comes from Captain America Annual number 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Mr. Flum, no more shall you call yourself Mentalo. Would you like us to help you to come up with? No need, Mr. Lathrop, a.k.a. Lifter, now known as Meteorite. From now on, you can call me Think Tank. He puts on a helmet. He looks like RoboCop. We've been hoping to add a mutant of your abilities to our ranks for some time now, Mr. Think Tank. I know. Come on, I'll show you how we track down our kind. And in a courtroom outside Carson City, Nevada, the mock trial of Quicksilver nears the end of its 4th day. And it's a trial, all right. And we have Blob as the judge, Pyro as I think he's the defense attorney. And I think Stonewall is the other one, because he says, and furthermore, Judge Blob, I contend that the defendant, Petro Quicksilver, whatever his last name is, can't be considered an evil mutant just because he once belonged to the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Fair enough.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection? What are you objection to, mate? Well, hell, on L.A. law. Now, wait a minute. This is a fake trial. I can object to whatever I bland well want. Simmer down, Stonewall. Order. Order in the court. You guys keep acting up on, and I'll sit on you. And he's pounding the gavel. Meanwhile, outside, and we see John Walker, Captain America, up on the rooftop with binoculars looking on the courthouse. And coming in hot behind him are 2 boulders. I see it, Paralyzer. The courthouse. Brag, brag, brag. I don't know why Meteorite always chooses me for these combat missions. I'm a bookkeeper, for crimini's sake. Meteorite. I just tapped their minds. It's a trap. Quicksilver's not there. They're all government agents, freedom forcers. Is that so? Well, it's fortunate we recruited you when we did, Think Tank. As much as I hate to war against fellow mutants, we must destroy the Freedom Force, or they will surely destroy us. And by the way, Think Tank is now in a... How would you describe that, Bob?
It looks like a mini tank. I mean, it's got treads, but it's got some looks like some robotic arms coming off the 4 corners that allows it to like clamp onto the surface of that big boulder flying through the sky. It kind of reminds me a little bit of something Professor Xavier would drive around in, except it's a tank.
Yes, hence Think Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Paralyzer, occult, crucible. I'm moving you on to this meteorite with us. Good plan. I have a better use for the rock you were perched upon. And he throws the boulder down at the courthouse. And just then, Destiny stands up from the jury box. Stop this farce. Everyone, out at once. I've just had a precognitive flash. A meteorite is falling on us. And then Spiral, who she has some magic about her. She's like, if I can free my arms from this confounded garment, I can weave a protective spell. But just then, the meteorite comes down. Now, Bob, the building that John Walker is on,
Mm-hmm.
do you see the shops that are there? One says Simon Shoe Repair, and the other one says Kirby Catering. It's got a nice little homage, right?
Sounds delicious.
The shoe repair? That'd be some tough leather there. But the meteorite goes right into the courthouse, and John looks at it and goes, son of But then the other boulder with all the 6 different resistance on there are flying, and says, I detect thoughts beneath the rubble. Some of them still live, and we'll simply have to finish them off. Prepare to disembark. And Cap throws his shield. Disembark this! And the shield hits one of them in the back. Katang! Hey, what's... And it's the guy with has he's almost like Shocker, right? He's got like the volts on his hands. Paralyzer. It's Captain America. Waste him. And man, does he, like, the shield's coming back to him, and he's leaping up on top of them, and you just see the shadow of his face. The only thing you see is the A, and you see his teeth, like these, and it's like an evil grin, his teeth, and everything else is in shadow. So it's very, very, you could see that he's just kind of crazed. And so he's ducking underneath. He's knocking them off. He's knocking them like off to fall to their death. But Meteorite is able to stop them from hitting the ground. And then Think Tank, patriotic clown, you may be able to distract my teammates, but you can't outwit a man who knows your every thought, can anticipate your every move. And the tank is firing at him. Press your attack, Occult. He can't fend off an assault from 2 directions at once. Missed. Help them. He's just one man. Watch it, Occult. He maneuvered you into freeing his foot. I hadn't figured it possible. He fights like a fiend, moves without thinking. How can I... And then, again, his face is all dark and shadow. He looks really scary. And then the guy with the zapper things on his hands, I can't remember his name. I think it's Crucible. And he says, think you're king of the mountain, huh? A-head? Well, 100 megavolt of juice stopped you last time, and I'm willing to wager it's going to do it again. And he zaps him right in the chest, and John reels back and he screams in pain, but then he looks forward and he's got that evil look on his face and like drool coming out of his mouth. You'd lose. And he takes him and he throws him into the side of the building, crashing through bricks. And then he picks up another one by the throat. And Meteorite tells Mistress to get him with a lethal acid bath, and he drops one, and then but Cap falls, and he tries to get Occult from before he lands, and he does. And then Mistress comes over. I can't believe it. I did what you guys couldn't. I felled the great weight. And then Cap nails her with the shield in the gut, knocking her off the boulder. Ha! You're throwing away your shield. Now let's see you dodge my full facade. And Cap just dives underneath the floating avalanche, and a Colt looks underneath. And again, that scary look. I've never seen Captain America so scary looking. Have you, Bob?
No, I mean it's very maniacal and just dark, right? I mean, it's in this particular panel, you could see it's all shadows. All you see are the white slits of his eyes and his teeth.
Yeah. And he throws a Colt into electric wires and zaps him. And it appears to have killed him. And then he jumps back on the meteor, and it's just Think Tank and Meteorite. Think Tank's firing at him with a machine gun. And as Cap's dodging, he ends up firing and hitting Meteorite, which loses control, falls off the boulder. Everybody crashes, and Cap's on top of him, nailing him in the face. No one gets away, mutant. And then Lamar, dressed as a guardsman behind him, grabs his wrist. John, cool, pal. You won. He's out. They all are. Battlestar? Yep. Duded up like a guardsman. And then we see Freedom Force. Coming out from underneath all the rubble. And he gets yelled at. You idiot. You unmitigated idiot. You knocked them all out. That wasn't the plan. They were supposed to get away so we could follow them back to their headquarters. Man, are you going to get reamed for this? I did what I had to do. That's not good enough for anyone. You can all go, chill out, man. You did fine. The commissioner will commend you. John, what's the matter? And he looks off and he says, my parents' funeral was today. I missed it so I could do this.
Damn, Rick.
Yeah.
That's some sacrifice right there.
It really is. All right, we cut to the last issue we're covering today, which is issue 347. This one has the same creative team, except the colorist is changed. No longer Bob Sharon in this issue. It is being colored by Greg Wright. Cover, Ron Frenz and Al Milgrom. And it is same corner box, same logo. But we have left winger and right winger attacking John Walker's Cap, and they are coming at him. And just like the other two, the title is a very large one-word font that is at the bottom of the base, just like the other two covers were. And this one says,
Vengeance.
All right. And solicitation for this one, Bob. When right winger and left winger exposed the new Captain America's secret identity, they caused the death of his parents. So now the new Cap is looking for a right winger and left winger, and he's planning to make them pay. And this one has a cover date of November of 1988. Park Ridge, Illinois, an outer suburb of Chicago. Ding dong. And there's an older lady sitting there in her living room. There's a piano, TV's on, and she's drinking out of a coffee mug. It says VIP Grandma. Actually, no, it says, yeah. And the dog lifts his head at the door and goes, oh. Now, who in the world? Alfie, were we expecting company tonight? Think it could be Publishers Clearinghouse telling us we've won $1 million? Now settle down. We get precious few visitors as it is. You don't want us to go scaring them away, especially if it is those sweepstakes people. Oh my God. And there's Captain America standing there. And the next page is a big splash page, and there he is, just standing there on her porch. The dog's kind of like running away. Yipe, yipe, yipe. And she looks horrified. And he's standing there again, shadow. And he says, Mrs. Lennox, Tell your son Hector that the next time I see him, he's a dead man. Oh God, my heart. Where's my nitroglycerin pills? And he just walks away. That man was dressed up like Captain America. Could have been the real guy here in Park Ridge. What could he possibly want with Hector? I better call him and tell him what that man said. So we get to Gleason's gym in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we see left winger and right winger, otherwise known as Hector and Jerome, and they're in their costumes, but they're in a boxing ring, and they're going at each other. And left winger nails right winger in the mouth, and just so hard that his mouthpiece comes out. And who's there, Bob? Who's there but our old pal Ethan Thurm? And he's looking goofy as ever. He's got a suit on with a brown, reddish brown suit with a green checkered dress shirt and a yellow and red polka dotted tie and a bowler hat and a corsage and a smiley pen. And he's got a bowl cut haircut and glasses. He looks quite the well.
I don't know what. Yeah.
Should we be judgy?
No, I don't think we should. He still looks better than Elon Musk without a shirt.
Okay.
Oh, I said it.
Yeah, you did. Looking good, Lefty. Can barely tell you pulled it. And then he picks up the payphone on the wall. Yeah, hello. Ethan Thurm, manager, promoter, and entrepreneur extraordinaire. What can I do for you? Huh? Oh, okay. Hold on. Yo, left winger. It's your mother. Take a breather, Jerome. Got to talk to the old lady. And he jumps over the ring and lands and he says, thanks, Eth. Sure, just make it quick. I'm expecting some important calls. Hey, Emma, how's it? What? Blast it. And he hangs up the phone, but he damages the phone. Oh, man. Now, how am I going to call my bookie? Hector, bad news? He threatened my mother, that swine, my mother. With her heart condition, I'll kill him for that. Who, Heck? Who threatened your ma? Walker did. John Walker, ex-buddy turned Captain Creepo America. Him? He threatened your ma? I was the one he threatened, but seeing how she doesn't know I'm super strong and all, she's really scared out of her wits for me. And old Ethan's like, wouldn't put threatening your folks past the guy, boys. Not after what happened to his folks on account of you two. After all, if you hadn't stormed the stage in Washington and revealed the new Cap's identity on national TV, those redneck watchdogs wouldn't have known enough to kidnap Johnny's parents, and they wouldn't have gotten themselves blown away. Hey, don't pin that rap on us. He didn't know that would happen. Besides, it was your idea to get revenge on that dope for ditching us. His best friends when he and Lamar got that stupid government gig. Well, I wasn't counting on John Boyd being so stupid he couldn't look after his own mom and pop. Putting the scare into my poor 60-year-old ma is going too far. We're going to have to do more than just publicly humiliate Walker now. We got to stop him for good. Now, Bob, I just want to point this out. Does she look 60 to you?
His ma?
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
the VIP grandma. Does she look 60 to you?
She did not. She looked, to me, she looked maybe a touch older.
Yeah, like in her 70s, right?
Yeah. I mean, she's a VIP grandma.
Yeah.
With a heart condition.
But the way she was drawn and the way she acted,
right.
She looked like she was probably at least in her 70s.
Right.
Now, back when I was a teenager reading this, I was like, oh, yeah, that looks 60. But now I'm at the age I am now. I look at that and go,
no,
there's no way that's 60.
No.
I'm not going to say who. I have family members who are 60 and they're nothing like that.
Really? Good for them.
Super active, super cool.
Yeah.
And
60 is a new 50.
Yeah. Now you're just making stuff up now.
I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah. In Washington, D.C., the staff room of the Commission on Superhuman Activities, we have Henry Gyrich. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Gyrich, I think.
Is he a gyro or a gyro?
I don't know.
Yeah.
A euro.
We should just cut Walker loose, disavow all of his actions, and let him hang out to dry. He's unsalvageable. Come now, Henry. He's a trifle overzealous, but still a good soldier. The way he beat the resistance single-handedly is proof of his usefulness. And Val steps in. Well, Walker almost blew that for us. We wanted some of the resistance to escape so they would lead us back to their stronghold. Fortunately, an operative Mystique was able to salvage the situation. This resistance business won't mean a thing when the news leaks out, and it will, that our new boy is responsible for the deaths of a dozen of those watchdogs. Why don't we just own up to our mistake and recommission the original Captain America, Steve Rogers? Now that he's in our custody, he may be able to cut a deal. Rogers is twice the Maverick Walker is. Useless to us. Neither of them is suitable for so important a role as Captain America. All of these renegade super types must be taught they cannot act outside of society's law. What is keeping head Commissioner Rockwell? We can't decide anything until he gets here. And so here's Rockwell pointing a finger at Steve Rogers on the other side of a jail cell. Until you tell us what we need to know. My lawyer has not been to see me yet, mister. And unless our nation's laws have changed in the week you've kept me holed up, I have the right to counsel. You're in no position to make demands, Rogers. I told you your lawyer would be here and all in due time. There have been so many irregularities since I've turned myself into you people. I'm beginning to think the commission is acting without official sanction. Are you making an accusation, Rogers? There's something personal about this, isn't there? As far as I know, I've never met you before the day I turned in my original shield and uniform. But for some reason, you, wherever you work for, has something personal against me. Paranoid, aren't we? I'm late for a meeting, Rogers. But don't worry. I'll be back. I have a little observation, Bob.
Okay.
So Steve's been there a week.
Mm.
Why is he still in the captain uniform? Why didn't they put him in some sort of jail cell fatigues or something? Shouldn't it really smell by now?
I would think, that the whole hygiene issue would be something. Yeah, you're right. Why don't they have like an orange jumpsuit or something, right?
Yeah. And why still have his gloves on? I mean, I would take my gloves off.
Yeah. At
right?
least, right. Yeah.
I mean, you ever wear gloves for a week?
And I'm like, when's the last time you wore like Buccaneer boots for a week straight, right? Exactly. Take them off. Take them off.
His fingers got to be all shrivelly.
Yep. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he sits there on the cot and he puts his hand in his head and he's like, I wonder if I made a big mistake not opposing the commission from the start. It wasn't that I thought the government had the moral right to strip me of being Cap, but I did think they had the legal right. I also believe that the president condoned the action taken against me. Thus, fighting the commission would be the same as waging war against the government itself. Most of my friends, the Falcon, Nomad, Bernie, try to tell me something stank about this situation the commission forced me into, but I stubbornly refused to listen. Why? Did I secretly want to stop being Captain America? Was I too tired to fight? Did I not know how to fight this one? But if I am being treated unfairly, illegally even, what can I do about it at this late date? In East Philadelphia, we're at a 4-story apartment building. And once again, John Walker is going up to the door and he says, tell your son, Jerome, the next time I see him, he's a dead man. And standing there greeting him is a woman in a kind of a heavy woman in a kind of a kimono type of thing, and she's got curlers. She's holding a baby. She's got another one behind her. Looks like she needs to shave those legs. They look a little stubby.
Some attention to detail.
All right.
Yeah.
What? You mean that little snot ain't dead yet? Look, Mr. Tights, why don't you go tell his good-for-nothing father? He may give a flying fig for Jerry, but I sure as heck don't. And she slams the door so hard, Bob, that the 3 and the 306 on the door starts to come off and swing.
Yeah.
And John just stands there stoically looking. In Alexandria, Virginia, wonder what Johnny's doing tonight. It's Lamar, and he's taking a history test. I'm really worried about the dude. I thought his victory against the resistance would pep him up, but nope. He just hasn't been himself since his folks bought it. There I go. Let my thoughts wander again. I've got to concentrate. I'm never going to make it out of here. Let's see. The United States declared its independence on what date? That's easy. July 4th, 1776. How many amendments in the Constitution? Uh-oh. Was it 21 or 22? Which one is it, Bob?
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Now, on the desk here, Bob, you notice anything?
Let's see. It's got Rico. Let's see. School's out. KD plus ST.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's Kieron Dwyer.
Uh-huh.
Right? Maybe with his girlfriend or his wife at the time. Yeah. I don't know.
That's nice.
Yeah, right?
A nice little touch.
Yeah. I wonder who, I'm assuming maybe Kieron drew that, but who knows? Maybe the letterer Jack Morelli did. I don't know, but
look at that bad language on the back of the chair.
I know.
Somebody wrote darn.
Oh, I can't believe that. What does E13 stand for? It stand for something, right? Oh, and it's cool. Lamar's wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt. Which of the following men were never president? Thomas Jefferson, Calvin Coolidge, or Ben Franklin? I bet you there'll be people out there who get that wrong.
Probably so. But right? It's comforting to know Lamar got it right.
Yeah. I bet you there's a lot of people out there who would think Ben Franklin was president, but he wasn't. Which is sad. What country sold the United States to the Louisiana Purchase? And then it says, okay, class, put your pencils down and pass your papers forward. Oh man, I hope I pass this final. If I do, a high school diploma will be mine. Bob, do you know the answer? What country sold the United States to Louisiana Purchase?
It was France, wasn't it, Rick?
That's what I remember. Yeah. And then somebody was playing Hangman on the.
They sure were.
On the chalkboard. Later, 10,000 feet over Nevada, and there is a air train. Really didn't have to tag along, Ethan. We're big boys. We can handle ourselves. And there's
Hector and Jerome.
Yes, thank you. I keep forgetting their names. Hector and Jerome sitting on a plane in coach, and then Ethan's in the middle. Nonsense, Hector. You two are my most valued clients. And Jerome thinks to himself, only ones too. Where you go, I go. That's what a manager's for. Johnny does threaten my pop. Like we figure he's gonna. We're going to make sure it's the last thing that slime ball ever does. You do mean that figuratively, don't you, Heck? I mean, I could post your bail for disrupting the peace now and then, but murder charges? Relax, Chubbs. All we want to do is stop him from threatening our folks. If he gets uppity and forces us to kill him, it'll be a simple matter of self-defense. Meanwhile, in a federal prison in northern Algeria. So here we are in Algeria, Bob. And there is a prison. It's the second 2 floors, and the Algerian guards are all dressed in like green, and they have caps on, and they have pistols. But then these militant people are coming in. They got like camouflage pants. They got flak jackets. They're all wearing red berets and sunglasses, and they have machine guns. So the guards are outgunned, and they're getting slaughtered. They break open the cell, and there's an old guy there. He looks to be in his 70s, maybe older, and he's in prison fatigues, but they're ripped. So he's been there a while, and there's even a rat. And he's kind of bald. He's got like white temples, and he's like, "What is all the commotion? Who are you? Speak, or I'll kill." "Rescue party, sir. It's about time. I have been rotting in this cell for months. This way." And they make it out. He grabs one of the machine guns and starts firing. "This swine will be needing this. Choppers this way, comrade." "Stop them. Malik must not get away." Malik? That name sounds familiar.
Sure
Bob.
does. Albert Malik.
Yeah.
We know who he is, don't we?
Well, maybe the listeners don't.
Well, he is the Red Skull of the 1950s, Rick. And if you recall, he was the hidden hand behind the deaths of Peter Parker's parents.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So while Johann Schmidt was
Sleeping
from the gas, this was the Russian military man who took over the guise of the Red Skull to for his, for Russia's sake. Like, right, he was doing it. He was one of those red commies, right? Back in the 50s. "Run for it, sir. We'll hold these devils back." Yes, you do that, men." And he gets into the helicopter. "In you go, sir. Unhand me, you idiot. I am not some invalid." "No disrespect intended." "Your weight will only slow us down, mercenary dog." And he kicks the guy off the helicopter. It takes off. And they're firing at it, but doesn't they can't get him. So it's just him and the pilot. And he's looks maniacal. "We have made it. I am free again. Ha ha! There's not a prison in the world that can hold me. I am just too cunning, too ingenious, too well prepared for the likes of my opposition. My mask pilot. Where is..." And he points to a box. Yes. That American archer and his insipid cronies thought they'd put me away for good. The arrogant fools. But no, it was just a temporary setback. And that's referring to Solo Avengers 6 with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And then he puts on the Red Skull mask. "And once again, I assume the mantle of the Red Skull. And unlike that preening Nazi who originated the role, I, Albert Malik, shall have the last laugh on my enemies." While he scurried about launching one ridiculous master plan after another, I toiled in anonymity, establishing one of Europe's largest criminal empires. But when I learned that the original Skull had finally died, I decided to resume his identity, an identity I first assumed in the 1950s while he was in hiding. When did Red Skull die?
Oh, in the classic Cap, number 300, Rick.
That was. We'll have to cover that someday. "Oh, Comrade Malik, I have something else here for you. Cretin, you henceforth address me as..." "Eh?" And he turns, and he gets shot right through the center, which throws him out of the helicopter. So it's a killing blow, and then he falls to his death. And what does the pilot say?
"Justice is served."
Bob, that was the first appearance of Scourge.
Was it really?
Yes.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So then Mr. Douglas is now back talking to the person on the large screen. And again, in the red shadow, smoking that cigarette on the long cigarette holder. And then Commissioner Rockwell is sitting there on the phone talking with the mystery man that is on the screen. It's in red shadow, and he's again smoking that cigarette in the long cigarette holder. That I'm under a lot of pressure here, sir. The other commission members are getting suspicious. Oh, about what, Douglas? About Steve Rogers, sir. I've been holding him over a week now, and the commission wants to know what I'm going to do with him. If you could just tell me what your ultimate plan is for him, sir, I'd happily go about expediting it. I told you before, Douglas. I will disclose that to you when I want you to know it, and not a moment before. But, sir, now you must excuse me. I have a call on the other line. Yes? Ah, Scourge. I was expecting your call. You've eliminated him. Excellent. Carry on. And then he laughs maniacally. Outside Dallas, Texas, we see Cap going to John Walker, that is, walking into a construction site. And he walks up to one of the older men there. Are you Jack Johnson? Yes, that's me. Tell your son the next time I see him, he's a dead man. Huh? Sure, I'll tell him. Got a message for me, little boy blue? Give it to me yourself. And then we see Jerome come down and nail Cap, but he dives out of the way. And there's a nice panel here with like 4 different Caps in the same panel. So he's kind of, rolling with the punch. And then left winger and right winger show up. Oh, I'm sorry, Captain Johnny. Did that miss you? We ain't gonna. Oh, Bob. In this next panel, that's scary looking John Walker.
That's one that has snapped.
And before, Bob, remember all those times we were talking about his face being in shadow?
Right.
This one is not. This one, you can see his face, and you can see his teeth, and you can see his gums, and he's drooling, and his eyes look maniacal. Hector, Jerome, I was hoping you'd drop by. And then he punches both of them at the same time. And he picks one up, and he throws him into a bunch of barrels. Next, I'm taking you apart, pal of mine. And he gets hit with a really long lead pipe. And he falls face down, and he's bleeding. Not bad, Hector. I almost felt that. You ain't gonna be feeling nothing when I'm through with you, Johnny. And he swings and misses, and then next time he swings and he hits his shield. But Johnny grabs the pole, and he throws him, just flings him. But then he's hit in the back with a barrel. You're not going to win this one, Johnny. There's 2 of us and only 1 of you. You knock one of us down, we just get back up again. And while one of us is recovering, the other one is wailing on you. Like so. And he punches him really hard, so hard that blood comes out of his mouth. And then again in the gut. Jerome would be willing to stop this, Johnny, out of respect for our past friendship. You just have to lay off harassing our folks. But me? I want you mangled and bleeding. And then he hits him in the back of the head. Knocks him down. But John then goes up and does a scissor grab around his neck and takes him and pulls him forward, where he goes face first really hard into the ground. And again, a maniacal look on his face. And then he just kicks him. He always did talk great fight, Hector. But he turns around, and there's Jerome with driving a semi truck coming at him. Want to play chicken, Capo? Sure. Hey, he ain't moving. And he dives underneath the truck. But the truck keeps on going. and the flammable truck hits and crashes, and now it's leaking fuel. Don't panic, Jerome. I'll get you out. And he pulls him by the hair out, and he punches him, and he keeps punching him. John, give me a break. Were you going to ask me to give you a break? I am. Crazy buzzard. What's keeping him going? Enough of this horseplay. I'm going to torch him. And Hector reaches in, or Jerome reaches in and grabs his Liberty torch and lights it and slashes his back. And then Cap grabs his wrist. Drop it or I'll break your wrist. Okay. And then he punches him. Because of you two, my mom and pa died. Killing you is not going to bring them back, but I'm going to anyway. No, John, come on, please. Didn't mean that to happen. Show a little mercy. Yes, I will show you mercy. And then a little time passes, and the two of them are tied up together with a rope, and they're upside down, hanging from something. And did I mention before the fuel was leaking? Well, the torch he throws on the ground, and the fuel is leaking towards the torch. And at some point, it's going to connect. Here's your other torch back. With any luck, you'll be able to burn your way through that cable before the other torch ignites this oil tank. He's gone total psycho. I got my arm free. I think I can reach the... And as John's walking away, there's a huge explosion behind him.
Badoom!
And then we just see a small smile on John's face. But then he's back to being stoic. The end.
Dang, Rick, that last third of this book is crazy.
I know. This is really, really heated up.
This is like intense violence.
It is.
Yeah. Unusual in the 80s, even at this late stage in the 80s. But really an intense narrative, though, right? I mean, you feel it.
Yeah. We've seen this journey of John Walker, right? As an arrogant guy who thinks, he just wants publicity. And then he gets the role of a lifetime of the person he was mocking. And then he realizes as he's going through it's a really hard job to have. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of pressure on him. And then he starts to question, the commission, starts to question, his allies. And then now he's outed. His parents get killed. And he's on the cusp of losing his job. It's been quite the journey for him.
Yeah. Be careful what you ask for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you got Steve and the journey he's been on. And he seems to have continued to keep questioning whether or not he made the right choice in giving up being Cap, or even questioning what was his motive for doing that. Did he really want to no longer be Cap? So now we're there, right?
Yep. Falcon's
back where he needs to be. D-Man's in jail. Jack's off drunk somewhere. Vagabond, I think she's with in jail with D-Man. Diamondback has escaped with Sidewinder. And now he's on his own. So it's coming to a big fruition here. It's coming to a big close. And so we'll cover the end. We're going to cover the last 3 issues of this story, which is issues 348, 349, and 350, which is the big anniversary issue, the big revelation. Mm-hmm. And that will be the end of our 8-part series. And this is the Captain Part 5. So come back. And that will be in episode, Bob, 101.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
I know.
Triple digits, man.
Yeah. Then for next episode, Bob, episode 97, we're going to take a visit to volume 4.
A little, well, I guess we have done one arc from volume 4 before, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not a very often discussed volume, but it deserves some love.
Indeed. So we're going to do the last 4 issues of volume 4, which came out in 2004, and it's issues 29 through 32. So we'll do those 4 issues. We're going to do it the new style, right? We're not going to go panel by panel.
Mm-hmm.
So don't worry, it's not going to be forever. But we thought that was a fun 4-issue story arc that was actually written by Robert Kirkman. You're like, Robert Kirkman, isn't he the guy who created Walking Dead and Invincible? Yep, he sure is.
Yep.
There was a stint there that he worked for Marvel, and this was his 4 issues that he did. This was the same, just to paint the time period, Bob. This was the same time period where Avengers Disassembled was going on by Brian Michael Bendis, where the team was getting broken down. And so this is a tie-in with that time period. It's called Captain America Disassembled.
Got it.
So
I'm excited. I can't wait to do this arc. I can't wait to dive a little bit into volume 4 and hopefully expose some people to some of the stories in that volume that maybe they haven't read before.
Yeah, it's going to be real fun. It's going to be just a real race between all these, Red Skull's going to be in it, Mr. Hyde, Batroc, Hydra, Diamondback,
definitely Nick Fury.
Yeah, all-star cast in this in that story. So we'll come back and do that one with next episode in episode 97. Okay, Bob. We're going to do favorite panel, t-shirt worthy, and time capsule.
All right.
You get to start with the favorite panel. Which one was it?
All right. This is a sort of one of those toss-ups between t-shirt and favorite panel. There's so many to pick from, and I know, I love those ones in issue 347 that had, sort of the multiple, the long page width, narrow panel with him going through different movements. I think those are fabulous, but I like that one in 346 where Cap has just chucked the shield toward the reader, and he's yelling, "Disembark this." I do love that. I think that shows great motion. I love the look on his face. He clearly is super, super upset. And I just love how he's following through on the motion of throwing the shield. So I'm going to go with that as my favorite panel.
Like it. I like that a lot. My favorite panel is in issue 345. It's page 5, panel 4. And that is the one where he's got multiple things where he's jumping. So it's essentially it's a Steve as the captain, and he's jumping up onto the Lincoln Memorial's shoulder. Yeah. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different versions, but they're all cool angles. And so I like that one. That's definitely my favorite panel.
Beautiful. Good choice. So what do we got next? We got t-shirt worthy next?
Yes.
Rick, you want to go t-shirt worthy?
All right, Bob. So for t-shirt worthy, I'm going to go against what I normally would do.
Ooh.
I normally go with Steve or something like that, but I haven't done John Walker yet.
Okay.
I think I'm going to do John Walker, but it's the one where he has the maniacal look on his face and it's not in shadow and his face is drooling.
Okay. Yeah.
And it says, "Hector, Jerome, I was hoping you'd drop by." And there's red colored behind him. Yeah. Which is just really a strong color for that mood. I think that would get some, if I had that on my t-shirt,
Yeah.
I think I would turn some heads.
Yeah. Don't wear it around small children.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Keep walking, Johnny.
Don't make eye contact.
Don't look at the strange man.
I love it. Well, I'm going to go even like further off the beaten path, Rick. And I'm going to tell you that I want a t-shirt that has the logo for King Kirby beer on it.
Oh, you know what? I love that.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool?
That. It really would.
Or Simon's Roadhouse, those are vintage t-shirts. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Nicely done. I'd buy that t-shirt.
Yeah, who wouldn't, right? Who doesn't want a strongman beer? Strongman beer, right?
All right. So for time capsule, what do you got for time capsule?
I gotta go with Steve, the captain on the payphone, Rick. Issue 345, hooking his attaché case up, hooking the modem up to the public payphone with his green screen. Green screen, computer screen. I love that.
Okay.
That screams 1980s technology. Right
and
there.
You can just hear the modem in the background.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So for time capsule, I'm going to go with issue 346, and it's actually page 14, and it's the mock trial. And during the mock trial, Stonewall gets a little upset because he wanted to object. And they ask him, what are you objecting to? He goes, well, on LA law, right? Which was very late 80s.
Yeah.
Right? That was a great, did you watch LA Law?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a top show. Was that Corbin Burnson?
Yeah.
Jimmy Smith? Some of those people. Anyway, so very much late 80s reference there, LA Law. So that goes into my time capsule.
I got something for you, Rick. Oh, yeah, baby. The night the lights went out in Georgia.
Oh. Thank you, Vicky. Now that song's in my head.
It's a classic. Go back and listen to it, Rick. It's a fun song. Except for her brother gets executed and she gets away with murder. But whatever.
It's the 70s. All right, Bob. Well, listen, it has been so much fun wrapping cap with you.
Yeah, absolutely. These are 3 great issues, and I can't wait to get to the next 3.
Absolutely. All right. Well, he's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis, and you have been listening to another episode of the Captain America comic book. All right, so come on back. Next episode, 97, we'll be visiting 2004 with a Robert Kirkman story. That'll be a lot of fun. Until that time, Bob, you have yourself a great week. And listeners, what the hell am I doing?
Who are you? Where am I? Pulling Admiral Stockdale there.
Yeah, well, Bob, as always, it's been fun wrapping cap with you.
It has, Rick. Well, you know what? I think we're probably going to do this again real soon, and I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed. I am totally looking forward to it as well, my friend. So he's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis. You have been listening to another episode of the Captain America and he's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis, and you have been listening to another episode of the Captain America. Oh, God. All right. I just need to end this.